and just levitate.
What's up guys, Gunthix here from Good. Ate some berries, they were. Before we start this, I just want to give a quick apology. This video will actually be thrown together in the next hour and a half because I need to create this before our first rally day. This is an introduction into Zerg fights, and I'm hopefully going to have some little icons appearing on a mini-map about now that will take you to different portions and different sections of what you actually need to fight. I may actually do that after the introductions. So this is a guide on how to behave in a typical WvW fight. The role you play will change depending on your class. This build will cover all the passages, saying on each other moments what to do and with each class. There are lots of different tactics during a fight, but they all follow the meta. The most important thing is always to trust your commander, even if you feel like he's doing a bad movement. If he calls for your skill, just use it. A very important thing to do is not to place any random fields during any of the following processes. Adding a combo field on top of another one will delete the old field's effect, which means that if you place a light combo field on top of a water field, your Zerg will blast retaliation instead of healing, which could ruin your fight. Or placing a water field over a fire field. Gwen, I know you do that a lot. Please note that the whole guide is based on the meta builds for WvW. Before you start, make sure you were using the correct guild build at this point in time. So the first class you're looking out for today is the Guardian, known as the AH Frontliner. Now this is a Guardian that I actually play that you'll be looking out for. This is my main rally commander, so take note of the obnoxious backpack and obnoxious looking char. It currently wears the guild colours, which is black and gold. Now, to start off a fight, I will call something known as Empower or Might Stack. This is a simple staff skill known as Staff 4. While all Guardians in the group are actually empowering, other things such as fire fields will be done. This is done by simply blasting those fire fields with combo finishes, the most common examples of which are Lava Font, Call to Arms, or Mighty Blow, which is the Guardian Hammer skill, but any other blast finisher is fine. Make sure not to use any skill that provide a combo field or combo finisher that have long cooldowns only to blast Might. Bad example of stacking Might would be using Purging Flames and then supply crate on top to blast the Might. So just keep it to Empower or Mighty Blow. If you are the Warrior, it is Call to Arms, or the Thief will run in with Blinding Powder, all on top of the Lava Font. During an engagement, a call known as Leap, or Leaping In, will be called. This part is critical to the outcome of the overall fight. After everyone is buffed with Might, the Mesmer makes its move by placing a veil on the way to the enemy Zerg. It will give stealth to whoever crosses it, which is likely to confuse the enemy Zerg. After everyone is stealthed, the Elementalist will cast a static field in the middle of the enemy Zerg. It will stun enemies, not only using the stability buff, and will allow your allies to focus their entire burst on them. If the enemy Zerg is far away, you can use Lightning Flash to teleport closer to them and surprise them with an early static field. If you are a melee class and your commander calls for a leap, it means that you have to use these skills. Make sure to do it only if the commander calls for it, or you will find yourself alone in the enemy Zerg. Do the leap on the Veil, so you combine a combo field light with a combo finisher leap, which will give you light aura. The Warriors use Savage Leap, the Guardians use Leap of Faith, which is their 3-skill greatsword, the Mesmer is using Veil in this scenario, and the Elementalist is using Lightning Flash combined with Static Field. Bombing or bursting, there are many names for this. Bombing, burst, DPS, spike damage being some of many, but all have the same meaning. Here is what you'll use in your burst rotation. To start off with Elementalist, you will start with a static field, moving immediately into your fire to cast a meteor shower. During your meteor shower, you can actually break it towards the end to then place steady ground, followed by eruption, and then into your shockwave. And then once all this is completed, move directly into your healing, and then you're going to place a geyser or healing rain. So the Warrior will start off by using Hammer Shock, along with Staggering Blow, then their Earthshaker skill, which is their F1. They will then swap to Sword Warhorn, use their Flurry, if not Earthshaker, then Final Thrust, all while using their For Great Justice, and eventually Balanced Stance if they require the stability. Both of the Warrior bursts are good, and it's up to you which one you choose. Usually on the first fight, the enemies will have stability, so it's better to go for Flurry over Earthshaker. Don't use it for the entire cast time because the bleeding stacks are useless. Use it and interrupt it after 1 second. This way you will apply 4 seconds of immobilize and will make your targets blow in your melee train. Using balanced stance only when you don't have stability. Usually at the first engagement, guardians in your party will provide it, so be sure to check your buffs before using it. There are 2 types of Guardians. The first is the Hammer Guardian. During combat they will start off with Zealot's Embrace, which is their 3 skill, followed by Ring of Warding, which is their 5 skill, and then finally Mighty Blow to burst that up. This rotation has a lot of CC, which will help hold the enemies in your Zerg's bombing. If you are good enough, you can also use Banish on an enemy near a ravine in order to push them out of the fight or to kill them with falling damage. The second type of Guardian is the Greatsword Guardian. They still hold staff in offhand, and usually there is only 1 to 2 per full team. They start off with Binding Blade, followed by their Symbol of Wrath once they've pulled in their target, and Whirling Wrath, while using Hold the Line and Stand Your Ground. The chain of skill of Binding Blade won't work if the enemy has stability, but will still deal regular damage. If you're doing it on the melee train, on the first impact they'll all have stability, so just use it and continue the burst. If you're going for the backlines instead, also use the pull, as the ranged classes tend not to have much stability. Necromancer, start by using all of your wells, then go on the melee train and use Unholy Feast. Then use Whale of Doom, followed by Locust Swarm and then Life Transfer. Since your wells have a long cooldown, keep the elite for another burst. With Unholy Feast you will grant yourself up to 15 seconds of retaliation, and Whale of Doom is a classic CC. Locust Swarm effect will keep working with Locust Swarm. This is a huge burst, and if done correctly is combined with retaliation. You can stay on the melee train by using Death Shroud. Don't feel afraid to push it. The Mesmer begins by using Time Warp, then Nullfield, and then their Phantasmal Berserker. They then swap to their Sword Focus, use Temporal Curtain, Illusionary Leap, and then they use their Illusionary Leap again to swap places, and then finally Blurred Frenzy. It's very important that you place Time Warp only when your melee train is impacting. Nullfield will remove boons from the enemy. It's very powerful since it can remove important buffs such as stability and protection. You can make Phantasmal Berserker explode as it does its skill, since it won't explode anyway in the middle of the enemy Zerg. Pay attention with Temporal Curtain because it'll also reflect projectiles with Warden's feedback, and this can give you a lot of damage with retaliation. Use the chain skill to pull enemies if you're not using it on the melee train. The last combo is also powerful because it allows you to immobilize and then deal a lot of damage while being invulnerable. After this rotation you will likely need to get on the backlines to heal yourself, so use of Blink is advisable. Now that you have passed your first fight, you will need to heal up and get ready for the second round. At this point, Elementalists will put a call in for water fields on the ground. Your job is to blast them in order to provide area healing. Don't think it's only about your personal healing. WvW is about playing as a team. If you're a Guardian, use Empower to provide might and healing. If you're running Hammer, also blast with Mighty Blow. Warriors instead will use Call of Arms, and Thieves will run through with their Blinding Powder. Any other form of blast with the short cooldown will help. Make sure not to place any other field because it will give another combo. This is the same part as might, just with healing. Another important thing to do while in WvW is to party up, since the boon sharing has party priority. If you have a Guardian in your party, you will be sure to have stability and other important boons when needed. The same applies with other classes. Warriors will use Battle Standard when they see their party members downed. Once you are in a party, coordinate with your mates who will use skills first. If you are 2 Guardians on the same party, do not use both stabilities at the same time. Same with other classes. The best composites are melee with melee and ranged with ranged.